this last episode of Love After Lockup with Bianca and Daniel. You know, Bianca has really motivated me to go get my split ends cut off because she's got split ends for days. Like, her hair be looking like that scary character Momo that used to pop up on children's YouTube videos years ago. That's exactly what I see when I look at Bianca. And she was sitting down with Daniel this week in their apartment, and Daniel finally got himself a job. So Bianca's talking about how proud she is of him. She's been waiting for this because she's been feeling like the sugar mama, having to pay for every single thing of Daniel's. So Daniel went and got himself a job at a moving company. He was putting in applications left and right, and tons of people were rejecting him, but he got lucky and found a moving company that was owned by a former criminal. So he was understanding towards Daniel. This is what annoyed me the most about Bianca. Daniel ends up getting a job, but the job is 30 minutes away. And like I said, it took him a hot minute to find someone willing to accept him as a felon. And Bianca, she doesn't have anything to do at all. She doesn't have any friends or family out in Arizona. She's not working, and she allegedly has almost, like, some people are saying that she got like $1 million settlement. I don't know how true that is, but that has been making its rounds on Facebook and Reddit. I mean, even if it was that amount, by the time the lawyer took their cut and all the fees, it's probably nowhere near that amount. I don't know. I have a hard time believing that it's $1 million because I've seen like death cases not even get that much before. I'm just guessing she probably got around like 150 to 300,000. That's just my estimate. You guys let me know what you guys think. But either way, it seems like she's doing fine because she has no sense of urgency when it comes to getting a job. And Daniel asked her what she was doing later on because after his first day of work, he wants Bianca to slide through and pick him up and give him a ride home. And she's just sitting there twirling her split ends, and she goes, "Well, I don't know what I'll be doing," making it sound like she just has like a laundry list of things to do that are more important than helping her boyfriend out. And she can't even take 30 minutes an hour out of her busy day to make sure that he gets home from work after she has spent all this time on his neck getting on to him about finding a job. Well, now the man has a job, and it sounds like he may not even have this job long term if he's not able to have adequate transportation to and from work every single day. He ends up going to work, and it looked like he had a good day. He seemed to enjoy his job, and while he was working, Bianca decides to go to some store and call up a few of her besties and vent about how, you know, Daniel's not hitting the clitoris. And she decided to buy a figurine for Daniel. And these figurines that she bought, it was like a 3-pack, and it's just like a figurine that you literally put together and paint. And these figurines were over, I think she said like $130, $150, which is insane. I saw someone pulled out that same kit for like $50 on Amazon, so technically she got ripped the hell off. But she ends up buying this, and I also forgot to point out the fact that when she was on the phone with her friend, the same friend that she accused of being jealous of her, like I'm sure her friend just loves seeing her say that on national TV about her. But she decides to ask her friend, like, "Hey girl, I'm so lonely. I don't really have any friends up here, and you know, I really haven't been willing to drive my own man to go to and from work and waste my gas money on him. But hey, I'm willing to buy you a plane ticket and fly you out this weekend." And of course her friend's like, "Well, is Daniel gonna be okay with this?" And Bianca was like, "Who gives a damn what Daniel has to say? He ain't paying no bills." But I mean, still, just out of like respect, I think she should still let him know beforehand. I feel like that's probably going to be something we end up seeing the friend surprise her and pop up next week. And whatever happened to the whole spaghetti scene when he said her, down there it felt like spaghetti? Because I'm pretty sure I saw that on the preview last week. I had all my snacks ready to go, sitting on the edge of my seat, just waiting to see this scene and the full context. But I don't remember seeing it. Maybe I missed it because I was pretty tired watching the episode. Let me know though. Did you guys see that scene in this week's episode, or am I just going crazy? And then Daniel finally does get off work and he tried to blow up Bianca back to back. And I mean, Bianca did tell him straight up, like, look, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pick you up, but she still gave him hope. And he said, look, if I have to, I'll call an Uber. But he still called Bianca first because he thought that she would be willing to drop what she's doing and come get him. And she just completely ignored him. And it's like, girl, if you can't pick him up from work, at least answer his phone calls, especially when you're not working or doing anything. I guess she was on the phone with her friend at one point while he was blowing her up, but just call the man back when you get off the phone. It just seems like she is so damn selfish. It just seems like Bianca is so caught up in herself that she really doesn't understand other people's point of views and where they're coming from and how what she does affects them. And she's sitting there and she is completely ignoring him. He finally called an Uber, and this man is working 30 minutes away. So that Uber is not cheap. Like back in the day, probably like a good 7-10 years ago, I used to get Ubers all the time for one of my exes, and it was about like a 20-25 minute drive. It cost me $40 a pop every single time, and on the nights where they surged the prices, oh man, it was way more than that. But that was like 7-10 years ago, so I can't even imagine the prices that they're charging nowadays. And Daniel said that he's only making $20 an hour and he's only working part-time, so he's working less than 20 hours a week. So 20 times 20, that's what, less than $400 that he's making a week, and that's before they take taxes out. And if he's having to Uber back and forth to work every day, I don't even know if he's gonna have anything left in his pocket at the end of the day to buy himself lunch. And Daniel tried to explain this to Bianca. They were sitting down in a confessional and he's like, well babe, this isn't gonna work long term. And it's like, if you want me to work 30 minutes away, you're going to have to do something. Help me out, or I might have to figure something else out. And Bianca just kind of gave him a face and was like, yeah, sounds like it. And he's like, well, I guess maybe we might just have to move closer to the job site. And she's like, yeah. So hopefully they do that. I did see on their Instagram that about 3-4 months ago, like the first time they came on the scene on Love During Lockup, they had just announced that they had just moved and got a new apartment together. So hopefully that was them moving closer to the job site. And Bianca bought this like $130, $150 figurines that Daniel really didn't seem to show any interest in. And it's like, girl, if you're not going to be taking him to work, buy him something that he's actually going to use and need. Like, go buy him like a $150 Uber gift card. And it just, I don't understand, because she knew he was getting out. She moved to Arizona for him. She wanted him to get a job. And how did you expect him to get to the job? I just think that Bianca, since she was so freely given this settlement money after this wreck, I just feel like she doesn't understand the true value of money and how hard it is to work for it and how fast it can go when you're on a limited budget. And I feel like after Daniel like works for a few weeks is she really sits down and looks at the numbers of like how much it's costing for Ubers and how much he still has left over after everything. I think that will really put it into perspective how expensive this truly is. And I feel like she should just take one for the team and be willing to take him to work. I would be like, look, I'll take you to work for the first few weeks until you get your first paycheck, and then after that, we're going to have to figure something else out. I mean, honestly, if I was his girlfriend, I'd be willing to do it longer than that. I mean, I understand, like, if you have other obligations, like a job, but this girl literally does nothing. The girl did nothing but shop for figurines all day, and she was too busy doing that to go pick him up from work. I don't know. You guys let me know what you guys think about Bianca and Daniel in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.